Hello everyone, this is Pastor Brian Anderson from the Bridge Church, and we are continuing our video series on how to study the Bible. Last time we were talking about outlining a passage of Scripture, and I thought it'd be great just to take a passage and kind of walk you through how you might outline it. So I decided to go ahead and choose Psalm 1 for our example. So let's just go ahead and read Psalm 1 to begin with. How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree, firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and in whatever he does, he prospers. The wicked are not so, but they are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Now, the very first thing to do when we want to outline a passage is try to identify the big idea of that passage, or the central idea, or the dominant thought. So as you take a look at Psalm 1, the very first thing you should look for is, how does it naturally divide itself? We're not trying to impose an artificial division upon the text of Scripture. We're trying to see, how does the Scripture itself naturally divide itself? And in this case, it's fairly obvious that there is a natural break between verses 1 to 3 and 4 to 6. Verses 1 to 3 are talking about the righteous man. We know that because verse 6 says, "For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish." So verses 1 to 3 are about the righteous man. Verses 4 to 6 are about the wicked man. Now, let's see if we can come up with a title that's broad enough to embrace the entire psalm. And what I would call this isn't a great title, but at least it's functional. I'd probably call it something like the contrast between the righteous and the wicked. The righteous described in verses 1 to 3, the wicked described in verses 4 through 6. Now, that's a super general outline, isn't it? You've got your title, the contrast between the righteous and the wicked. You've got point 1, the righteous, verses 1 to 3. Point 2, the wicked, verses 4 to 6. But let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say we're just going to deal with the first 3 verses of Psalm 1. So Psalm 1, verses 1 to 3, and we want to outline that. So basically, we're outlining the first half of this particular psalm. So how do we do it? Well, we'd probably call it something like, let's just call it the righteous man. We might be able to get a better title than that eventually as we think about it, but at least that'll suffice to start with. So the righteous man. So how does the text naturally divide itself in verses 1 to 3? Verse 1, that's talking about what he does not do. How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. So basically what you could do is say the righteous man, point number 1, what he does not do. And underneath that are 3 bullet points. He does not walk in the counsel of the wicked. He does not stand in the path of sinners. He does not sit in the seat of scoffers. Point 2, then what he does do, that's in verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. So what does he do? He delights in the law of the Lord, and he meditates in the law of the Lord day and night. Now, verse 3 tells us one more thing. What his life is like. He will be like a tree, firmly planted by streams of water, which yield its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and in whatever he does, he prospers. So point 3 is what his life is like. It's like a tree planted by streams of water. It yields fruit in its season. Its leaf does not wither, and whatever he does, he prospers. So if you were going to say, take Psalm 1, verses 1 to 3, and seek to outline it, you would have 3 points. Number 1, what he does not do. Number 2, what he does do. Number 3, what his life is like. And so that's really what it's like to take a passage of scripture and seek to reduce it to an outline. You notice the more you do this, the more insights you're going to get about that particular text, and the more alive it's going to come to be, and the more you'll be able to communicate it and teach it to other people. So I hope this has been helpful. Perhaps we'll do another text in a succeeding video where we talk about another passage and show you how we could take that passage and reduce it to its outline. May God bless you.